There you go, though. Let me leave that and let me back to the chair. So, yes.
The Vice President will be
Yeah, so let's.
his meeting.
All right.
Good afternoon, comrades. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you to this afternoon's meeting. And on your behalf, I want to welcome our Vice President, Dr. Jagdeo, my colleague Minister, Mr. Nigel Darnlall. We have a number of technical officers here from the Ministry of Agriculture. You would recall the last time we had a meeting here with the private cane farmers and those private persons who own land in the Monsoon Creek area. A directive was given by the Vice President that we should send up a team here to look at the land to see the uses of who own the land, first of all, establish ownership, and what they want to do with these land, what crops they want to plant. A team came up here and they did some work. I believe they came 2 days from the Ministry of Finance and Agriculture, NDIA, and they met with the farmers. They went to the Monsoon Creek area. They established partial ownership. Those persons who would have owned cane land before the cane farmers. The private farmers, however, we didn't know who are the persons who own private land outside of the cane farmers. So that is, we will be talking about that today here. The Vice President will give us some more directive. And when you add the two sets of land, the private farmers' land and the cane farmers' land, in amount of about 31,000 acres. And also we have the old El Dorado Co-op has another 4,000 acres, which will give us about 35,000 acres. Those are prime agricultural land that can be developed instantly there if we put in the roads and the Guyanese system in there. So we'll be looking at that to establish ownership. I have here a small map that the people that gave us, but I think we need more information. So at this point, I will ask the Vice President to make some remarks, then we can have this general discussion. Vice President.
Well, thank you very much. I think those of you who were here the last time, well, you know clearly what we're trying to do. And so I said I'll come back and we'll follow up on those discussions. The idea was, outside of the Gaisuko lands, to see what we can do, what sort of investment we need to bring all of these lands that are being opened up by virtue of us building that road in the Monsoon Creek area, as well as the 12,000 acres that were available to the private cane farmers who were supplying the Scotland factory. So we want to work on a single project that will bring all 30 or 35,000 acres of land into production. We need to find today, through the discussion, as well as for the investigation, what are the most beneficial crops or activities that we can put these lands into, given the market situation, and then what it will take from the government side to put in place the incentive for people to utilize the land. So I wanted everyone to be here, particularly not just the big guys, but also the members of the co-op and stuff like that, because if we are doing for the co-op, we want all the members of the co-op to ultimately benefit. Not just one or two, and I'll be very blunt, not just a couple of people who basically control the co-op, and then you have most people just sign on as members of the co-op. So we want everyone to benefit. But before we do this, I want, the report that came back to me is inadequate. It's inadequate. I wanted to see ownership structures. I wanted to see potential activities. That's why I set up a multidisciplinary team from both finance and the Ministry of Agriculture. And I also wanted to see what, if we were to infrastructure and a notional cost for all of this infrastructure, roads, drainage and irrigation systems, etc., to bring all of these lands into productive use. So before I engage further, I want to make sure that we get a presentation from the people who came up as to their findings, and then we can continue the discussion therefrom. So who's going to make that? Lyman? Yes. Come on, and let's hear what the findings were. These are excluding the Gaisupo lands. We come to Gaisupo lands later, but these are the lands here.
Okay, thank you very much. The meeting that we had with the farmers who were present, for the private cane farmers that occupy the 12,000 acres as developed previously, we have our Prashad cane farming. He has 3,900 acres. We have quarantine cane farmer and Mohan Anand Singh, another 3,000 acres.
These people are here. If you're here, just right.
Right.
So indicate, right.
For our Prashad, he has 4 leases. Work for cane
All right,
farm.
just give me the map or something. Yeah.
So then we have.
So that's about 6,000, right?
Then, yes, we have hand caning, 437 acres, 940.
That person is Adrian. Okay, Adrian. Oh, that's Adrian? Oh, no, okay.
Then we have Raj Cane Farming Inc., 567 acres. Right. Crabwood Creek Cane Farming, 800 acres.
So this is a co-op. Those are private ones, right? That's what you hold leases in your individual names. Right? And then you have a co-op too, right? So is this the co-op? Co-op Creek is about how much?
800 acres.
800 acres.
And outside of that 1,200, the group was there, the Babylon Land Co-op Society, 4,020.
So that makes up the 12,000.
12,000.
That's in the private cane farmers, right?
This is.
So you have more?
No. If I might interject.
Yeah, go on.
Babylon Co-op
We have
Society
another microphone here.
is
Can
not-
we get another microphone, please?
Babylon Land Society is not part of the cane farming wholesale area. It's a separate.
Separate.
Yes, so we can discuss that later.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yes. That we do.
So we're talking about those who are growing, first of all, cane for
Gaisupo. Let's talk about that. So from what I gathered the last time, it's about 12,000 acres. All right, please come on. You get a chance here. So from what I gathered the last time, it's 12,000. That's what was represented to me. That is why I wanted this sort of meeting to see if we're leaving out anyone else. So you're saying now that outside of this 12,000, there's another set of people who are growing.
1,200 acres.
1,200 acres.
Wow.
That's a co-op. That's another co-op. So I hope we can that's the idea, is to get all of the people, because we have to work with you now to see how we can put the land into productive use. So we want to identify the people first of all. So that will be about, that's a 13,000, just over 13,000. The 12 and the 1,000 there, and you have what, 1,000 now? 1,200, yeah, so that's about 13,000. So how do we get now from the 13 to the 35, Zulfi? So that's 13,000 in cane that used to grow for Skelman. You used to grow too?
Yes.
And how much is that? 1,200 too. So that's about 14,000 now, 14,500 acres. Huh? That's about 14,500 that we're supplying Gaisupo. So, Zulfi, we need another 20,000. Explain how we come up with the other 20,000.
The private farm.
So your bit is how much?
It's 4,000.
4,000. So we can account, yes. But they calculated all of this. So it's part of the 35, but it's not in farming. So that would take us now to about, how much I was, about 14,500. So you're now, that's about 18, 19,000. We're about 19,000 that we can up for you. So who else?
No, let's find it. They got one by one, and let's say how much land they have.
Yeah, but if it's small amounts, don't worry with the small amounts. That's fine with us. We just want to make sure we get in this room that we know who we're working with, you know, the people. We got to get about 15, 16,000 acres more of the land. Are there other big holders, or is it small holding for the remaining 15, 16,000 acres? And how far does this go up on the road, Sophie? Are you the last? You got beyond you, you have others? No, you're at the end. You're at the end of this. The 1 mile road that I said we'll extend a mile. We'll extend the road another mile. Because they said it will take us to some co-op. Those lands are included? Oh, that's yours. So that is captured land? Is that captured? So the El Dorado might even add. I promised the last time, and I told Edghill, they've said about a mile more to take the road down, and we promised to do that. So that's about another 3,000 acres. So that might be on top of the 35. 3,800. But that will be on top of the 35. He told. You sure, Lionel? Show them where on the map.
Here is the 12,000 acres. Yeah. Right?
Right.
And to the end where your canal is the last here, that is this junction here.
So where are you? See where he is.
So El Dorado you're talking about is up here? Right.
So was that included? The El Dorado was not included. So you have 35,000 acres excluding El Dorado. So that means we'd have to add another 4,000 or so. That's about 39, because if you're building the road right up to El Dorado now, that's 39,000 acres. Yes, go on.
Please exclude the Babylon 4,000 from this.
No, it's not there.
It's a different location.
Right, it's not there.
Oh, so your 4,000 is not there. Sorry, so I included you. So that means we still have to account for more, right? Yes. Okay, all right.
Separate location.
The separate location. All right, sorry. That's what we need to do quickly, identify. Because we want to work with the people. And well, we need to know who has the land and who want to work, or who want to maybe rent the land out or do something else. Because we're not going to put in infrastructure in the land, nobody is utilizing the land. Who is going to help us do this? Yes. So can I form a committee now, today, that will work with us on this project? This is a big project, to bring all these lands onto cultivation. Whatever the sector, whether we put it in rice or sugar or hemp or whatever else, we haven't decided as yet. But right now we want to make sure that we start putting in place the roads. I need to know how much money we have to spend on putting in place the infrastructure. Whether it's $1, $2 billion, $3 billion of investment from the government to make these lands accessible and with good drainage and irrigation. So that's what I want to find out. So I'm going to now, today, before we leave this meeting, we will form a committee that will work with the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Agriculture and the regional administration to do this, to advance the work in this regard. Okay? So I think that's the best approach that we can have here. You want us to form this committee now?
Yeah, let's do it now. Adrian, you want to make a suggestion? You're nearly there. Let me get the farmers to involve.
No, I want big and small.
Yeah.
I want big and small, not just the big guys, right? You know how the PPP works, everybody. Right? We want the big and the small people. And maybe 10 10 persons. Yeah, go on, go on. You all don't have another microphone so the comments could talk. Right, we'll deal with you separately. Let me talk first about this bit, right? We'll talk about you separately, the other farmers. So let's talk about this here first. So 10 persons from this area. Are you going to submit the names to us or are you going to select the people here?
And I'm saying 10 person here. Come on, everybody come on. All 10. All 10, the 10 stand up here.
All right, but yeah, maybe you should have a meeting, Zulfi, and go in the community and look at it.
10 come here, man.
Bravo. You're going 150 quid.
Come, let 10.
Bravo.
All right. Yeah, come. Wait, let me. You're not in that area. You're in that area?
No black leaf.
No. You stay there. We're coming to you just now. You stay out here. Listen to them, man. Yeah.
Alim, go on today. Come here.
All right. So these are the people. We take down their names. This group will work with us throughout. So here what the task is. The first is to see the land holding. Secondly, to start looking at the state of the place and what we need infrastructural wise, both on the drainage side, irrigation side, and roads. All right, and then suggestions as to what economic activities we can pursue. Now the hemp can be large holdings because we don't want to flood the market. So most likely the hemp will be for small people at the beginning, small farmers, and most likely we will give the small farmers some land from the Gaisupo land, right? So that you can't do big holdings of the hemp right at the beginning or just flood up the market. Right? And we want to make sure those sugar workers were laid off, that they have a little holding, they can plant something, make a good living, first of all. So we got to think, excluding hemp at this time, think about other activities, what we can put, whether it's cattle, aquaculture, rice, whatever else. Catch crop. There is a Canadian group I'm looking at fruits for export, but just for export. So we will now bring these people who are looking at have markets. Some of them are prepared to work and provide working capital for people, but you would have to sell them the products and stuff like that. So we want that team to keep working, and this will be an ongoing working group that we'll meet. What we will also do, now the leases say you can only do cane. Right? A lot of the leases that you have. So if it's required, we'll have to change those leases. We can change them. We will talk to the bank. Ashni Singh is not here now, but we'll have to talk to the bank about his old indebtedness and probably restructuring that. All of these issues will now form part of this committee. Okay? So get the names down, make sure, and this is the working group that we'll work on this area. Okay? All right, you all can take back your seat. Yes, so we will now advance the work on this Zulfi. So no use we go through this exercise here, we just get more on the technical side. But I promise you I'll be back here to advance the work. So which other area we have farmers from now? Any kind of farming in a big group, right? Big group, right? So the Quarantine River Farmers Association, all right. How many members you have here? How many people from that association here?
Because of the short notice, only 5 of us.
5 of you. But this is not the whole association. What a man called association nowadays, like GHRA is one man association. 48 members. All right, so what are your problems? How can you help this association?
I'm sure of the problem is all that means.
The land lease.
We got application for land leases, they out 16 years.
16 years.
And when people there-
All right. So, is it disputed?
No,
It's not disputed. So, is there anybody in this region here now, Zulfi, who can tell us about why there was no movement on this for 16 years? Is there a problem? Chairman, regional chairman, come, why are you hiding in the back? Put the chair next to you here. You got to take the lead on these things too. So what was the problem? What did they tell you all?
well, this office here tell us, they got going, not take photographs, we got look at all, we pay down the inspection fees. They told us now, we got paid yesterday, we got paid.
All right, don't worry about all of that. We can fix that. But is there any big problem with it? Let me.
So the big problem is that, present, we need the Ministry of the government intervention in terms of financing for development. Because, you know...
All right, first of all, let me go stages. So you need the lease to be settled, right? And then you need help for what purpose? So you get the lease then, 48 men parcels there. What do you need now in terms of help?
We need fertilizers,
Yeah.
chemicals, herbicide, pesticide.
You need everything, man. What are you putting in there? Yeah. Okay, no, if you get flooding and stuff, that is fine. We can help. We get fertilizer and pesticides and stuff. Those are small things. But do you have infrastructure in here already?
No, we need the road. Because the matter was since Vivan, the road Oriana settled down.
Well, there is a big investment going down, right? It's going down. Yeah, that would be a bigger investment. I can't commit to that now. So no use. You know how we work. If we can't do it, we tell you right away. Eventually the road will go. So we'll have to help you, but we can't do the road now, right now. That's not a short-term thing.
What we need is, because of the catastrophe, we lose thousands of our trees. We lose millions of dollars in our...
Yeah.
With government LPD, because now we got the agriculture station secretary. Every time I was in class 150 iron tree, as we pronounce it again. But you know, we got no ways, so apart from...
Alright, so what, you need planting material?
We need planting materials.
Zulfi, see what I was telling you, we need to do thousands of these things. 20,000, 30,000. We can't do 10 orange tree, grafted orange tree, 10 in the normal large tree.
The married kids, we engage them as an association to go and do inspection.
Alright, here now, we can find, if we don't have the planting materials, Zulfi, and private people have the planting material, buy it from them and give these to us. So the planting material, and we can, and also someone. All right, hold on, come on. So it's the planting material we'll help with. We can help with some fertilizer and the pesticides. Okay? Right, we'll help with the fertilizer and the pesticides. So those are the three things. Now, I can't promise a good.
We have people who know to be the running and grafting. I arrange with them to go and run 3 days. Where we do the practicals on the field. Because everybody knows the
I agree, but hear what I told you, Zulfi. Remember in charity that some of these people we hire in Nigeria who are part-time workers for 10 days, you just see I launched that over there. Those are 3,000 people in this region who would work for $40,000 a month and they work for 10 days to help with the employment situation. Now we can take 40 or 50, it's a skill, of these youngsters and train them to do the budding and the grafting and all of these things. Ear layering, I see we don't even explore ear layering. We can have a ton of trees ear layered and get good planting stock and all of that immediately. So it is something we have to do at a larger scale. And we have the people now, we're going to be paying them to just let them go and learn a skill. And so we will work with you. I want to make sure that NARI works with this group, these farmers, to do the following thing, to get them to teach basically the people to do this and also to do get them to plant. Alright, so how many, get us 10 persons, you get us 10 persons and let's put them on the program from the community, right? Right, 10 persons. Okay. Yes. Something wrong with the plant? The plant dies. Yeah. It's a soil. Maybe, but this is, if it leaves there in a healthy fashion, right, the nursery. Oh, dying up there, not when they sell it out. Well, of course, when they sell it. But why is this so? Because if they use the lemon, right, as a stock, because that's a hardy stock, so they use the lemon mainly. Oh, the mixture. Well, come, y'all come here. Come, let me hear this thing now. Yes, right. What's going on with these plants? Yeah.
They are requesting this raw lemon rootstock, right? But presently with the budding, it's a process. To get the rootstock ready to bud, one transplant takes approximately 6 months. And with this climatic condition, it's very hard for plants to get it to meet the demand. They complain about the plants dying, but the farmers need some extra training. So when these plants leave the nursery, they know how to take care of these plants. Reason being, some of the farmers...
The whole group died, but the roots died.
So the thing is that if you know people, the farmers, and you're talking about they need extra training from the plant, any farmer who buys plant there, they need to be told how to do it. So that's your job, to train them. Not to say they need extra training, so if they don't do the right thing, they die out. You gotta tell them what to do, that's our purpose. Now, this was a problem we had. When we were in opposition, I went up to the nursery at Timeri. There's nothing there, a couple of old trees. And I said to Jagdeo, you, and I told Zulfi, we're doing this at a large scale. So it may take a while, but if we start off with not planting 1,000 or 500, we gotta plant 30,000. Get the capital, be prepared to put the money in to plant 30,000. So in 6 months' time, you have 30,000 of the sturdy root stock to do that. It requires more money, more people to hire, but we're prepared to do it. Because we want, you can't supply 1,000 plants and then hope that we'll transform agriculture. But we're prepared to put the money into it. How many? 17,000? Well, let's double it now. Let's double it to a field. Right, let's set it now so in 6 months' time, you know, it's available there, right? And then we hire more people if necessary. I told you already, any program, let's hire the people, you bring it to me, I'll make sure that you find the money. We gotta do this differently. If these farmers now decide we wanna do 20, maybe 10, 5,000 acres on the like lime or oranges now. We may not have their planting material. And that's what I'm hoping, those things. If you do 1,000 or 2,000 acres, then that is major. And to let them, so that's why we need good drainage and irrigation too, so the plants don't die, flooding and all of that stuff. That's what we want.
The problem is you can avoid certain things.
Yeah, because at the river, the other plantings that don't die thing early when
May I say one thing?
yeah.
Before approximately the government, they are planned for $120 each.
I'm to increase it from 120 to 300. You all, this is something that we said we practically supply free. And now you're going to drop down the price immediately to what it was before. That's what we promised the farmers. Yes. Anyhow, this is something, it's not like new now. You know, since we're in opposition, I was talking about the same thing. About the same thing. Several times we said we need to do this at a large scale. I spoke with Jagdeo about doing the nurseries at a large scale. Large scale. Large scale means not a couple of plants. We went to charity, we got 100 plants there. A couple of 100 plants. The whole Pomeroon needs tens of thousands of plants. So we got to operate at a different level. Anyhow, let me move on to another group command. So they will help you with some planting material, with some fertilizer and pesticides. Will help these farmers. Okay. Now, which other group we have here? This command now, yes. We're Leeds, the Co-op Society, Leeds Pioneer.
Give this comrade this one.
We may be related.
All right, okay, all right. Tell them no.
Yes.
One conversation.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
We from Leeds Pioneer Co-op Society, and our land is situated at Baker Shop. Back in 1500, just where estate land finished, our land started right there. And we fully cultivate the whole land.
That 1,200 acres?
Yes. One part left about 1,000 are complete. And we were still in preparation when the estate collapsed. We were
That's for the cane.
We were supplying estate. Cane. And it collapsed and the whole farm was collapsed.
Yeah.
So we don't know what can happen.
So what you could use the land for now?
Well,
you could do cash crop and stuff like that?
No, it's too far.
Too far back?
Yes, from road to catch Baker Shop down.
Well, me know where the Baker Shop is not there right now.
No, Baker Shop down is 74. That's 74 now. Yeah, but the 1500 is at the end of the cultivation, the estate cultivation start.
What could we do there?
You don't know, it's at a distance, we have some land in front. Right, you can plant the whole place of the road, that's if you
yeah, the road now need done now.
The whole place have balloons.
Yes, but all right, we can help. We'll help, right?
The rice field,
The rice field. So let's help the farmers then. If we can convert this land, help you to convert.
Yes.
It wouldn't affect anything else. Nobody else. And nothing. You can water the market.
Yes,
all right, let me send Lionel in and see what it will take to do that, converting these lands. Okay, how many people will benefit from that?
Well, the public a lot of members, so we don't know where members are.
Yeah, but we got to get them too. We want to make sure that we help. You know that we can't help just one person. If it's a large number, we can help. 206. But how are you going to share this?
Members, members of the 50 members. All members migrate and there and already.
Migrate and there.
Members there. So they have to get all the members.
and see if we could maybe, he's saying if they could switch some land and get some land elsewhere. We got land elsewhere? Some Kaisuko land you're talking about?
Yes.
All right, let me sit with him and discuss. Let me don't make no decision here. Take his number and see what we do. You're from the same area? All right. All right, so we'll meet with you all to discuss that, right?
All right, again, so to see, because if that far enough, maybe something goes like.
Good. Any other group?
Yes, this comrade said he's.
Yes, so,
Yeah.
just a quick history. Babylon Land Pub site is about 60 years old. Over the years, it went nowhere, right? So we're in the process of redoing, formatting the society to start cultivation. Now, Babylon is 4,000 acres, right behind Pioneer. Originally, access was through the Baker Dam that everybody's talking about, which is a Gaisuko Dam, right? I spoke to the chairman. He said to me, he's going to make sure we have access. But the dam has to be redone. So right now, what we're looking for is access, drainage, irrigation. The society originally had about 200 members, right? Right now, we probably would end up with about 40 or 50. We're not looking to relocate. We want to be regular.
You said how much is budget cost? You have it in your budget?
No, we wanted to, because we own those people.
You can prepare that. Right behind. So what he's saying is, is that they just need the road access.
The road access to go to right down.
And drainage irrigation.
Yeah, well, let's sit down with him too, with them Babylon, and work with them. So both groups, let me have a further discussion.
VP, there's also an alternative access. The 50-year dam that's being built to Country Creek, right? There's a dam called Grand Cross. Comes across to the main drainage canal, water pipeline. Babylon is across here.
All right, let Lionel explore everything, okay?
Yeah, so just so you know, all we need, we're looking for health, access, drainage, irrigation. Right now, the plan is for the society to raise our own funds to finance cultivation.
That would be.
I mean, over the last couple of months, I had a lot of conversations with the Ministry of Labor, the Crop Division, right? So they're working with us to help get all the paperwork back together, and we're looking to get started by September. We want to start cultivation in September. The only thing that's holding us back right now is the weather. Yes.
Anyone else?
You got another group?
Yes.
So this here is an alignment we're thinking coming from the bridge all the way eventually. Once we upgrade this road, the main road, we're now upgrading it, whitening it, and paving it back from Amsterdam all the way to Bolsa. So this, green here, you see this, we are saving this alignment now, maybe another 5-6 years from now to build another road coming at the back. And this is the alignment here. I don't know if you can see it in green. From the bridge straight up to Bolsa there, at the back here. So we're planning for the future, not just now. This is the alignment.
Molson Creek, we get 1,200 acre co-op, the Battleground Co-op Society is the name of the co-op.
Well, that would you be part of the same group?
No, we get before them, before the new road, we get more in front.
Yeah, oh God, man, oh God, you gotta remember the group. You there in between, and you are complaining, it's between from one end to the next. Oh God.
Any other group we have here?
Yes. Yeah. So any farmers from other areas, or let me focus on these. The comrades from this area, Babylon, and the other area there. We'll meet with you, we'll ensure that you get this help, and we'll work with the other comrades here to continue swiftly. I want to move fast. I want to make sure that we move as fast as possible. Now, we are now thinking about Gaisuko lands. So we are looking at how we will utilize some of the Gaisuko lands. We want to keep some sugar. So we want to safeguard a little piece of land because later we may want to return to sugar. We want to use some for hemp and some for aquaculture and maybe some other things like fruits and stuff like that. So we're in the process of deciding how much. We're setting aside about 2,000 acres for aquaculture, but this is a high-end level of aquaculture. So we may be working with private people too, if you have proposals to utilize in these areas. But right now, our idea is let all the workers who are laid off and those, and maybe small people, to do most of the hemp cultivation in smaller plots, because they can earn a good living even if they have a couple of acres. Can have a really good, if you keep the prices high by not flooding the market too much. And that's why we want to go carefully whilst we're dealing with a more large-scale plantation-type agriculture with the other farmers who have big holdings. So we want everyone, big and small, to also benefit from this. So thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to raise with me? Before we close, because I have to meet the fishermen now. They might be waiting. Yes, please come. In Malali side? Or Gravel Creek? Cash crop? Well, all right. So make sure that you talk to Zulfi too, because Zulfi comes here a lot to see what help we can give to cash crop people.
Y'all get some help presently? Right.
So they give you 8 hours work on the excavator?
We get 8 hours, but you get people from starting, they get 2-3 days work.
Oh, you get 8 hours, the rest get 2-3 days. All right, check it. All right, hold on a minute. We're gonna check your thing, and if it's true, you'll get more days. All right, like let's see. Take his name. All right, take his name. That shouldn't be. Whatever we do for one, we do for all the farmers. The same thing. All right. We'll check your stuff. Okay.